has a bore of 28mm and a stroke of 34mm, and uses direct injection. It has a proper working oil pump and proper injector system. And this shows the other side of the engine, and this is the side that the camshaft runs through, and at the bottom here is the oil pump. It's a little plunger oil pump, and it pushes the oil through to drip feed actually onto the crankshaft main bearings. Just above it is the little injector pump, which is 4mm in diameter and has a 90 thou stroke. And going up, there's the air intake system, and although it has a large air intake on one side of it, the actual venturi is only 1/16 of an inch diameter, as when it was larger than this the engine used to race away. So to slow the pace down, I put a restrictor in there. And the black piece on the side there is the muffler, and on that side there is the fuel tank. The engine is water cooled, and on the side here, just below by the fuel tank, is the fuel filter. The fuel then goes through to the injector pump, and the small brass hand wheel there is a bypass. So it controls how much fuel is actually being injected into the engine, and it bypasses it back into the intake side of the circuit. The fuel then goes up through and into the injector, which is under the cover, which I'll remove in a few minutes. On top of the cylinder head we see the two parallel valves and the injector nozzle, and that makes use of a very small gas jet which is screwed into the end of the nozzle, and that's where the fuel enters the engine. Just below there is the water outlet pipe, and below that again is the water inlet pipe. The circular handle is the decompressor. The Lister engine had a pre-combustion chamber with variable space, and so does this one. This works in a similar way to the model two-stroke engines of years gone by. Most of the castings are aluminium, with the exception of the flywheels, which are iron, and they are required for the momentum to keep the engine actually going. This is the engine inspection bay. As you see cast onto the front of there, it's the Listers of Dursley in the UK, and that was made by casting using plastic letters used for HO gauge model railways. Below that you can see the oil drain, and also the oil filler. The oil is picked up from the sump on the left hand side through a filter, goes through the little reciprocating pump, and then comes down through that copper pipe on the left hand side across to a bar inside, and then there are two pipes which come up and actually drip oil onto the main bearings. On the front plate is also the engine breather. So now we will attempt to actually run the engine. Right, there you can see the tappet block, and on the left hand side is the actual valve lifter, which came in very useful when in the early stages of testing the engine raced away and did many thousands of revs per minute. Fortunately now runs a lot slower. The engine is started with an electric drill, and at present I'm using a model aircraft diesel fuel, but further experiments will be made with various recipes of fuel. can't run it for too long because the water cooling is not actually connected up. This was just to prove that the system does actually work and the engine runs.